Hey, how you doing? This is Sherrita C W Delacruz at the Figures of Speech Talkcast, powered by Blast Music 24/7, Esoterica Entertainment, and you. Tonight we have a repeat guest, someone that we love so much, and they have new things for us tonight. Let's bring in Andi Buerger, the founder and chair of Voices Against Trafficking.
Hi, Sherrita. Thank you for having me on again. Such a pleasure and an honor to be
Hey,
here.
how are you doing tonight?
Dan, fantabulous. How about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
You
So,
bet.
For our viewers who are just tuning in, could you give us a little bit of an understanding about your organization, what it does?
Absolutely. So, Voices Against Trafficking is a 501c3 nonprofit, and our goal is to give a voice to the voiceless victims of human trafficking, sexual exploitation, especially the children, because they literally have no choice and no way to defend themselves. Our ultimate mission, of course, is to end human trafficking globally. And it's a
Mm,
big ask, but together, collectively, our voices can make a difference. And we know that because we've been doing it for a really long time. And part of the reason is I'm very personally vested is because I was 17 years as a victim of child sex trafficking by family members, also known as familial trafficking.
mm. God bless your life. And to God goes the glory for you being able to get to a place where healing is imminent and the pursuit of justice and awareness is at the height of your process for the voiceless, as you call that. That is your term. Why do you say it that way? There's so many ways to say it.
Well, I think part of it is because even in my situation, even though it was in the early 60s and they didn't have anything, human trafficking wasn't even a term. If there was some kind of abuse in the family, it was swept under the rug. The culture was not accepting of that kind of situation. But voiceless, because I didn't have a voice, and no matter how hard I cried, the only one who heard my cries and my screams and my desire to either die or to live, but was God. And he met me in my despair and in my devastation. But for all the voices out there, they're trapped. I mean, the average human trafficking victim, Sherrita, is sold 20 to 25 times in a day. Imagine
My
a
God.
10-year-old body going through all of that. Imagine a 14-year-old body going through that. And most times they're drugged because they simply can't keep up with the production line, so to speak. And so, who's
Mm.
speaking for them? Who's representing them? They don't vote. They don't get to drive dad's car. They don't get to go to the mall and shop with their girlfriends. They are enslaved, literally, which is why we also call human trafficking 21st century slavery, because there is no out for these folks.
My goodness. And you're clear across the United States from me. I'm in North Carolina, you're in Oregon,
Mhm.
and you know there are how the highway systems are set up from long ago, starting from the bottom 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and on going east to west. There's a highway called 40 that goes from here to California, clear through the area that I live in. And the state that I live in is considered one of the most trafficked states in the Southeast. Um, would you consider the area that you're in a very heavily trafficked area as well?
Yes, we have highways like that, whether it's the I-5 or in my in Central Oregon, Highway 97, anywhere that they can get basically from Canada to Mexico, or like you said, across country. The predators want to move their product quickly. They either have to get a to a port, to ships and ship them out, or they have to get to airplanes. They have to drive them, move them around constantly, especially when we do get fortunate enough to try and rescue a victim. We have to move them several times to make sure they're not being stalked, they're not being followed, they're not being tracked by the predators. All new cell phones, all new everything takes a lot of coordination and resources. So yes, Oregon has been in the top 5 before. Currently, I'm not quite sure. I'm looking at statistics. I'm going to get some new ones soon, but it's just what I believe, Sherrita, is that people think, oh, it doesn't happen here. It doesn't happen in my neighborhood. I know my neighbors, but do you really? Because every 40 seconds, and that's a conservative estimate, every 40 seconds,
every 40?
A child is abducted, which means 18
My
years
God.
or under. They're lured into something, maybe a summer job or a babysitting job or delivering pizza or whatever it is. And because, teenagers, they want to make money, parents want their kids to work. It's kind of a rite of passage to get a job, but we're not vetting the people offering the employment or offering the opportunities as we should.
All right. So that I'm gonna start a little list on my paper over here, and we'll go over. We're just gonna give these little tips at the end of the show. Vetting the people that your children are around, right?
Absolutely.
Vetting your children, and you said every 40 seconds. So we could consider. I mean, we're not going to be conspiracy theorists here, but we can consider that when we see these uptick in abductions in this country, that most likely it has something to do with human trafficking. Is that a statistic that you've come across?
I don't have personal knowledge of that statistic, but yes, I would say absolutely, because here's the thing. The US is actually the number one, the top in demanding such things, whether it's out of depravity, whether it's for greed, but we are demanding kids and young adults. And so traffickers want to provide that. Okay, now things are starting to change a little bit, but that part of it is that yes, that exponential increase comes because there is a demand for it. If there was no demand for it, then the traffickers would have no way or no reason to want to profit off of it, right? So it's up to us to go to the demand level and also the enforcement level, Sherrita, because we're not enforcing the laws the way we should.
I have noticed that there aren't any specific human trafficking laws federally. Not many. They're really, I guess, baseline. Nothing that would really target specific acts and things of that nature. Is that something that you are aware of that you can enlighten us about?
Well, we are our members. So with Voices, we're kind of like the hub of a wheel. So we have different spokes. Like you're a spoke because you're a media member and you're putting the message out there about human trafficking. But individuals, law enforcement, anyone can be a spoke. The more spokes we have, the further we go, the stronger we are as a collective voice against human trafficking. So to your point about the laws, even if we took the most basic archaic laws on the books right now, federally, one act of human trafficking should carry up to a 20-year sentence. Now, if we actually enforced that each time a predator was caught and convicted, then they wouldn't be able to get out of jail so readily or get a free pass or get cherries on top of their ice cream, so to speak, with minimum security, or even be let out prematurely. Because for the victim, when that predator is locked up, whether it's solitary confinement, and I know people have a problem with that, but look at it this way. A victim has a life sentence no matter how healthy or how whole they become, if they even become whole. I literally had the last predator in my life about 8 months ago, after 40 years of not hearing or seeing or dealing with it. show up. Somehow they found me and they wanted to make my life miserable. And thankfully, let's just say God released them from this earth. And so they are no longer able to do that. But can you imagine 40 years later? So we never get away from it unless the predator is dead or they are locked up for life with no hope of release. And that's
Man,
what we should enforce.
I'm so grateful that you were able to be stabilized in your life after that incident. I didn't even know that had occurred. As a domestic violence survivor myself,
Mm-hmm.
though it's not human trafficking, a lot of the trauma that exists with folks who are sexually abused or trafficked exists with domestic violence victims. So I can attest to what you state about,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even though you're healed, even though you're physically healed, there are things that we have to continue to allow ourselves to be delivered from, like certain anxieties about going certain places or even seeing certain things or even things that might be reminiscent of times
Of course.
during the trauma. Um, would you consider that the, I don't want to say revolution, but the video game revolution, how
Mm-hmm.
traffickers and predators are utilizing that innocent platform to try to get at children? Is that something that you guys are exploring as well?
Absolutely. In fact, one of our members, Enough is Enough, Donna Rice Hughes, has been leading the cause against for internet safety for over 30 years. And they have done amazing work. And so a lot of our members, we work together for legislation, for better vetting. So for example, to your point about gaming, I encourage parents, adults, anyone in charge of children, teenagers, young people that are actually gaming, actually go through that game 100% all the way to the finish, because a lot of times there'll be the front end, as we call it, that looks all safe and all good, and then suddenly you walk away or you say, sure, go ahead, you can have this one. They're going to get into rooms and things with some pretty nasty stuff. The predators are sharp. They know that most people don't have the attention span to actually vet what their kids or their young people are looking at. And so that is their goal, the darkness. Look at all the violence in some of the gaming. It's not just fantasy like maybe when we were younger. It's
Yeah.
not imagination, from our own minds. It's somebody feeding us an agenda through the gaming. And I'm not saying every game is bad. I'm just encouraging adults, please be more vigilant so that your child is not traumatized and not able to communicate to you what they saw and why they then act out because of that trauma.
My goodness. Regarding the addictive nature of the game, and then if they get grounded from the game, they just get totally out of pocket because they can't play this game because they've created attachments or things of that nature, right?
Right, to the
Um,
characters. Absolutely. Absolutely. They think they're friends sometimes, even.
yeah. So let's speak on the foundation of Voices Against Trafficking. You are a Juris Doctorate. That means you are or have been a practicing lawyer at one point in time. Um, how long has Voices Against Trafficking been established?
We launched on Capitol Hill in 2019. So we're just about 6 years now. And in those 6 years, we've been very blessed because we're an all volunteer nonprofit. We do not have staff. We do not have people that we pay. Every dollar we get from anything we do goes back into whether it's fighting, for kids, live rescues, products and things that will help get the awareness out, which I know we're going to talk about. So the organization is set up to create greater public awareness, to inspire action, which leads to prevention. And we do that through a number of tools. Education is one of the things that is very important. And we know that, especially adult learners, we all have kind of a certain learning pattern. Some people are audio, they want to listen. Some people want to read. Some people aren't long-term readers, they prefer something shorter. And then, some people are visual, like right now, we're watching watching a video, a televised video. So we try to address all of the learning patterns so that we can provide a tool, provide something that everyone can use and feel good about without being terrified. I don't mind if we make people a little uncomfortable, but we don't want to terrify them and they're not going to listen or do anything.
Right, if they're scared.
Right,
And
absolutely.
so you've given us some background about trafficking, about some of the mediums that trafficking can occur, the ways through video games, through interactions, possible summer jobs where parents aren't necessarily not on purpose, but we just
Right.
want to trust certain things. But
Sure.
parents not really vetting the relationships that their children have outside the home. Um, what new things have you come up with Voices Against Trafficking to get the word out and inspire and make awareness about human trafficking?
Well, I'm very excited because it seems like last year we were just plowing and tilling the soil, and this year we have a lot of produce, so to speak. And one of the things is we have a new book, Voices Against Trafficking, Courage is Contagious, Uniting Nations and Voices Together in the Fight Against Human Slavery. That's going to come out in September. But right now, people can pre-order it on barnesandnoble.com. And so just look up Voices Against Trafficking. And that book has about 15 different chapters from different people around the business of human trafficking. Some are media, some are people that had an aha moment, some are survival stories. One of the chapters is about PTSD, how we deal with that. Just like veterans have to deal with that after a war. We are in a war, folks. We are really in a war for not just our children, but for the sanctity of every human life and the rights that every human should have. So this book, I encourage everyone to pre-order because it's like a handbook. You're going to get really good information in small doses. Most of the chapters are 5-10 pages, maybe at best. So it's a great way to get informed, get educated. Helplines and hotlines are in the book too. So every school, every church, every family library should have a handbook so that you can have an educated conversation with your kids, age appropriate. And then, so we have that coming out. We're very excited. We also have, for the first time, we did something really out of the box and I'm really excited about. It's a CD or music album, whichever term you prefer. It's called Broken Treasures, the inspiration album, because Sherrita, all of us have had brokenness in our lives at some point, some very devastating, some minor, but it's all brokenness. And yet in God's eyes, we are his treasures. We are his creation that he loves. And so this album inspires hope, and it's passionate. All of the artists, many of them are still touring. They have active bands and groups. And so every original song on here was donated by folks because they wanted to be part of the solution. They wanted to be part of the collective voice. And music is universal, as most people know. So we have songs, six or more different genres. So there's something on the album for everybody. And it's one of our newest fundraisers. So for $19.99, you get 15 amazing songs.
All right. And where is that going to be available?
That's available on voicesagainsttrafficking.com. Voicesagainsttrafficking.com is our website. Just hit shop and you'll find our magazines, our books, our music album. Very simple to purchase. And so digital content, you can get it instantaneously because we are in an instantaneous society.
That's right. And so when we're saying voicesagainsttrafficking.com, we're spelling it all the way out.
All the way out. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but that's just how it worked out.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, voicesagainsttrafficking.com. Go to the shop, click on that tab, and then it'll drop down and you'll be able to purchase your album and maybe one for a friend. Maybe you know someone who needs inspiration or hope or the promise of something better. And this album has that for you. And then people could even utilize that, like if they're doing a workshop about trafficking. Yes,
and absolutely. They could actually just play this as inspiration.
Absolutely. There are so many different messages.
And what were
in
you
this.
about to say, Andi?
I'm sorry. There's a little overlap.
It's okay. I didn't mean to step on you. I'm excited about you too.
That's great. No, this is great. It's awesome. We're both excited, and I am really passionate because, you know, I love music. It was something I never really got to pursue or enjoy, but in the moments where I had quiet time, music was like my second salvation. It's something that I felt I could live through other people's words, or I could feel. I allowed myself to have emotions because of the songs. And so this was really special. And God gave me the vision for the cover, and Cassandra Tyndall, amazing designer, she took that vision and overnight designed the entire cover, and it shows everything. You know, even if you feel trapped or locked in, there's still hope. You know, there's still a key that can unlock that, and you are a treasure. Even if you feel damaged and worthless, that's not God's way. You have a purpose, you have a hope, and you have worth. And so we want this album to really reach people's hearts. And sometimes we don't know how to say things, so maybe the music is one of the ways to do that.
That's right. Let's see if we have one of the songs ready to listen. Hold on just a second. Let me see. What's the name of this one, Andi?
This is called Radiate by Michael Body, who is the executive producer of the album, and also Michael Body Band. So,
Michael Body.
yeah, he's awesome. He's talking about radiating, you know, being lit up.
This song came out on his album last summer.
I believe that's right.
But I see Orion floating right on by, and I hear the sisters singing across a boundless sky. I can't find the forest through the trees. I'll ask the wise man, can you release me? I close my eyes and then I radiate. I purify and then I consecrate. I may start slow, but I accelerate. I close my eyes and then I radiate.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
I love it. You
I'm
know,
very
close your
I'm very
eyes.
familiar.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with Michael Body. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
we
were
were
you
so
saying?
blessed to have him to have him put all of this together for us on the album. And Robert Bills did a great job of mastering all of the songs. So, like I said, there's something for everybody. And one of the songs I think is actually going to end up being a movie theme down the road. So we have all kinds of great stuff on there. But yeah, it was great for him to do the producing and help us get this first one out. Our plan is to have a new album, new inspiration album every year. And so we invite people to just really give us feedback, let us know. And if you have a song out there, later this year, we'll have kind of an open submission and we'll just see where it goes. But that's one of our fun projects. And we have a couple more, and there you go.
That's a great way to fundraise every year by selling this CD. That is ingenious. I know that had to
We can't take credit, but well, and you know, a lot of times everyone's getting hit for donations and to do this and do that, but we feel like we want to give something back of value for that $20, actually less than $20.
Yes, it is.
And even in this economy, no matter what it is, most people, for the right reason, if you can't volunteer or you don't have a lot of money, you can do something, but you're also going to get something really fabulous back.
Absolutely. So, are you doing any online workshops or anything that people can attend to gain awareness or even be able to be trained in the understanding of how to assist people? As say for instance, someone wants to start something like what you're doing in their area? Do you train people in that way and then help them oversee their process in any way?
Well, we are certainly open to helping them develop the program and helping them to find the first steps to establishing something like what we do. And a lot of our members already have like homes or recovery houses. And so we have experts that we can hook them up with. Most of our members, our charter members, are open to speaking online and training. Most of the time, depending on what the situation is, there's no cost. Sometimes there's a small cost, but we want to help people learn what to do. I speak anywhere in the country that someone will have me. We are going to probably start doing more online things again. We had to take a little break because of COVID, and then, regaining the funding that we had for those programs. But we're also going to start bringing out a TV show called Voices of Courage. And that should be either later this year or top of next year. And that will also include some of those conversations and training as well. So we're going to use television for the visuals. And we also have the Voices of Courage magazine. So we brought out a magazine in about a year and a half ago. So it's our third issue. It's an evergreen issue. It's timeless. We have the gorgeous actress, producer, filmmaker, the complete Renaissance woman, Danielle Bisutti, on the cover of Voices of Courage magazine. We just released it. It is chock full of surprises and good things and challenging things and information and education in that magazine. So we call it a coffee table magazine. It's high end, like very high gloss cover, fantastic imagery and photography and solid editorial content. So for the person that wants to read at their leisure and take an article at a time, they can definitely do that. We have some more international stories, which are phenomenal. I mean, talk about being inspired and getting hope. If you need that magazine's a great way to get it. And that's also on voicesagainsttrafficking.com under the shop tab.
Can someone get a subscription to that? So it'll be a monthly process?
It's not a monthly because it's probably 100 plus pages, and it takes a lot of resources to produce that. So we are always looking for advertisers, sponsors, people that want to help us get that out. So we usually do 2 a year. And it's not the throwaway kind of magazine, but yes, digital content, you can have that immediately. So, but again, if you do the subscription, you get all the previous magazines too. So that's kind of a plus for the digital subscription.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So you've got the CD, you've got the publication, you've got the television, visual in the works. Oh gosh. What else do you have going to get people more aware about human trafficking?
Well, we're hoping between those mediums, and then again, I'm going back to online forums, that we will be able to do, well, we are going to do more Facebook and YouTube live streams and to take certain topics. We have PSAs, little 30 to 60 second PSAs, public service announcements for anyone out there that wants to post them, like every April for Child Abuse Prevention Month. And so we want to do more of those, create more of those things. So every month, every week, you're seeing Voices Against Trafficking somewhere, and really hit it hard, because we have a huge event in September, on September 27th. So we're in collaboration with IMAG Media and Voices Against Trafficking. We're going to have our first ever Voices of Courage Awards Gala and conference. And so there's going to be a fashion show, an elegant dinner. We're going to be honoring everyday people, just like you guys out there watching and listening right now, for things that they have done in their community, not just in trafficking, but maybe innovation and leadership, something that they have done, that they have put themselves on the line for in their communities, that is changing lives and helping the rights of humans to be more protected, to be more vibrant. And so we're going to have that in Jersey City, New Jersey, at the Liberty Science Center, which is an historical building and great venue. So we'll have information on that posted very shortly. So we invite anyone to come. It would be awesome. We're going to just have such a blast.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You said in September?
It's September 27th. It's a Saturday evening, semi-formal event, and but don't let that keep you from coming.
Absolutely. So I heard you say human rights. Can you explain to our viewers and listeners what human rights is? Like, some people really don't understand. They hear civil rights and they hear this and that as far as different socioeconomic things or social issues. Human rights is actually a thing. Could you explain to us a little bit more about human rights, just generally? And
Sure.
of course, we'll understand how human trafficking falls under that once you explain.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andi's definition of human rights is, I believe every human being has the right to live wherever they are, whether it's the U.S. or other countries, freely, safely, and to be protected, not to cause, dissension or anything like that, but just the basic rights to, have food, to have the opportunity to be a child when you're a child, right? Instead of having to grow up and be an adult at the age of 5 because of circumstances. So basically just protecting the right to live freely, to live safely, and to have the opportunity to pursue whatever you as that uniquely designed individual is called to do and called to be. So that is really the heart of what I believe, because there's truth and hope in that. There's the truth that, things don't always work out well for every single person. But guess what? If we actually were as concerned for our neighbor as we are for ourselves, whether we like them or not, I would hope that people would want to help that neighbor if they were in trouble, but sometimes we get in that, oh, this is, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to, cause any trouble. And if somebody would have caused trouble in my life, I wouldn't have tried to kill myself 3 times starting at the age of 5. And maybe my birth mother would not have had another chance to kill me at age 17. So people just didn't want to speak. And again, that was a different culture. But now we have helplines, we have hotlines. We're talking about it. Folks, we are talking about it out there, and we want you to help us spread the word by saying, look, I saw this show with Sherrita and Andi, and boy, I learned a few things, and maybe we should have a conversation with our family. And here's a tip for families, whatever your family unit is, to help keep you safe and your kids or whomever is in your home. Whether you're single parent, adoptive parent, if you're a grandparent raising, grandkids, whatever it is. Have a code word and not something complicated, because let's say you have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, just for example. You want a word that only your immediate family or only the people that you totally trust to have, so that your kids, if they typed pizza pie or something generic, one, if a predator is with them, they're not going to think anything about it because it's a generic kind of term. It's not saying something very specific like meet me at 4th and Main. Right. So you want a word that only your family knows. And if you get that texted from one of your kids, then they're in trouble. And so you need to go get them, find them, help them. Yes. When the kids get older, like college age, and they start having kind of their own besties or life friends, for that season, they should have a secondary word, something that group, because a lot of times an adult youth will tell a friend before they would tell a parent or somebody in authority. So we want them to say, hey, Joe, if you get this text from Susie or whoever, they're in trouble, get some help. So establish that. Yeah, establish that right away. That's something you could do right now, tonight, tomorrow morning at breakfast. And very simple. And we have a lot of tips on our website, but also in the back of the books. There's like 30 or 40 of them. So definitely investigate that, because it's one way to establish safety. And then again, of course, please talk to your kids. Talk to them as someone who doesn't want to police them, but someone who wants to protect them. Their rights matter too. And
Yes.
help them understand that, hey, if somebody does something wrong or invites you or asks you to do something uncomfortable, we want you to tell us no matter what. And we're not going to get mad at you. We're not going to punish you. We want to know the truth so we can work it through together. And guess what? Sherrita, I don't know about you, but everybody has bad judgment at some time in their life.
Yeah.
And yet we expect our kids, to be perfect.
Right.
So we have to give them that grace and that space to explore life, and yet have some bumper pads along the way.
That's right. And I like how you said buffer pads.
Mhm.
It sounds not so, I don't know, overwhelming as even though the topic is overwhelming, but bumper pads is a good term to use.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into our Blast Artist of the Week real quick. It's a group from Durham, North Carolina, and the song is called 100.
Yeah. Sean, man. Hey, look. I just take it one day at a time. Can't be focused on the shine. Gotta focus my mind on staying humble through my grind. Investing my time, getting closer to God in His word till I'm flying over anything that tried to separate me from God. Man, I'm getting through that. Thought you knew that. Anyone trying to crucify me, thank you, Judas. You only push me to my destiny. I'm never losing. Cruising all through the city on a sunny day. Hat low, black shades block the sun rays. Me and my ladies gon' have a good day. That's my wifey and baby girls, the angels in my face. That's why I thank God every day that I'm waking up. All these blessings I've been receiving, cannot make that up. Hard times they may come, but I'm never giving up. My power come from within, I'm connected. Life be going fast like the interstate. Like the interstate. Hey, with my dreams, I'm in a head-on collision. I won't swerve, I'ma keep it straight. Yeah, I'ma keep it straight. 100 if they do it, don't listen, cause God elevate my faith above any situation that I face, because life can be a struggle any given day. Just gotta believe there's a better day coming. Whatever you working toward, keep working for it. A dream's only a dream when there's no work involved. And put your heart and mind inside the hands of God, cause He will never let you fail when His plans evolve. Gotta remind myself daily that I got greatness on the inside of me. It's forthcoming like a prophecy, and knowing that God is a bridge over where troubled waters be raging, but He helped me get over without aborting these dreams that I got, visions that I see. Me and my brothers in EMG like a symphony, moving together on stage and we finna be on top of the world, giving glory up to G.O.D. I miss my brother, but yet holding on to family. I could do better as a brother and an uncle, but I'm praying that God touch my soul and change me to a better me. Praying for better life be days. Going fast like the interstate, like the interstate. And with my dreams, I'm in a head-on collision. I won't swerve, I'ma keep it straight. Yeah, I'ma keep it straight. 100 if they do it, don't listen, cause God elevate my faith above any situation that I face, because life can be a struggle any given day. Hey, just gotta believe there's a better day, because life be going fast like the interstate. Hey, like the interstate. Hey, with my dreams, I'm in the head-on collision. I won't swerve, I'ma keep it straight. Yeah, I'ma keep it straight. 100 if they do it, don't listen, cause God elevate my faith above any situation that I face, because life can be a struggle any given day. Hey, just gotta believe there's a better day. Hey, coming, what? Hey, seriously though. Coming. Man. You just gotta believe, man, it's a better day coming, yo. Stuff ain't always gonna be matched up the way you want it to be. But that's just the struggle of life. It's the reason we got prayer for. We can't get through it on our own. Trust God, man. Love y'all.
How'd you feel?
Wow.
How'd you like that? How'd you like
That
that,
was
Andi?
amazing. I loved it. So positive and so true. I mean, you gotta think it, you gotta live it, right?
That's right. That's right. So we're gonna take this last little while for you to help us with some tips. You said that we should vet our children's exterior activities.
Mhm.
Not how young should that start, but how young should children be when you make them aware about, I need to know why you are around these people? Like, what's your coach's name? Or oh, your coach brought his brother to help
Mhm.
y'all practice. What do you know about his brother? How young should children be when we start talking about these processes without, I guess, with the, like you said, the bumper the bumper
The
board?
bumper paths, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's a great question, and there are a lot of facets to it. But let's start with, okay, depending on your child's maturity level, and that's something that the parent will have to decide. It depends on, okay, if you have a 6-year-old, for example, are they in school? Is it a charter school? Are they homeschooled? And again, who is spending 6 to 8 hours a day with your child? Okay, that you definitely want to know. A lot of schools, believe it or not, they're either not doing full background checks or they're doing something that's just very limited. So one quick example is, it's probably been 2 years since this incident, but in California, there was a preschool teacher. He had already been through 12 preschools before he got caught violating
What?
children. 12
Oh
of
my
them,
gosh.
because he would leave after 6 months if somebody found out, or he got passed over. So where was the background check? Why weren't parents asking questions about the new teacher? And look at the employment record at the very least, right? See how many
Yeah.
times somebody's jumped around. Because if your 4-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old is with somebody like that, you need to be aware of why. Right? Okay. It's not
Yeah.
just, well, we moved out of state. Okay. Well, all right, that's fine. But 12 preschools. So a lot of damage there, a lot of families wrecked. So again, vetting, making school officials accountable. Also so let's say we move into the tweenies, or, a little bit older child, 7th, 8th grade, junior high, almost high school. Do they know their property? Walk the property with your kids sometime, and where are the exits? Where are the closed doors? Where's the custodian closet? Where's the maintenance? Are they in a basement? Be aware, like count how many doors, make it a game for the younger kids. Hey, let's count how many doors there are, on the school property. And it sounds crazy, but really, if your child goes missing, you're not going to know where to start. But if you're prepared, so situational awareness, we have a great guy, Brian Searcy, with the Pratis Group. He does phenomenal situational awareness training for individuals, for families, for groups, for corporations, for schools. And basically, Sherrita, 4 minutes a day for 90 days is all a family needs to become super aware and super safe with his training. That's not a lot of time to invest. Have some tacos, sit down with your kids, your family, and say, look, we're going to do this together because we want everyone safe. And also, you're training them to look out for their friends, because a lot of times once your kids start getting social and they start doing things without adult supervision, how are they going to know how to protect themselves or to get help for a friend that maybe gets snatched or that is having difficulty? So again, conversation, getting the tools, and working through those things. So for the kids, I would say anywhere, if you need someone to help you do the conversation, I'd be happy to help. But we have members that would be happy to help, to give you some guidance on how to start it. If you have a nanny or you have daycare people, again, do your diligence, vet them out. If you have someone that comes in to check on your kids because maybe both y'all are working, that's totally fine, but make sure that person is trustworthy. And who do they know? You brought up a great point. What about the coach, right? Does the coach have a pizza party for the girls volleyball team, but not want the parents around? It's a true story. I've heard this from somebody that it happened to. What about going out of state? A lot of parents allow their kids to do sports all over the state or out of state even. Nothing wrong with that, but who's watching them? Who is protecting their rights? Who is allowing the people to have access to them? Just like camp, right? Camp, vacation Bible school, all of those things. We have to watch the parking lots. And you may be saying, oh my gosh, Andi, that's just like so much to do. Well, here's where we all get involved. Even before I was married, as a single person, I would volunteer to watch a parking lot during an event that had kids. I don't know why. Instinctively, I just felt like that was something I could do. And we caught a few people that way. Wow. I would go get help. Yeah. So you don't have to have children even. You could volunteer at a city center kind of youth place activity, or be there at the gymnasium and just be kind of a bathroom hall monitor. Just be that adult standing out there so that predators that might want to try something know, you know what, there's somebody watching, I'm not going to try it here. Right?
That's right.
We have to be the deterrent, just like the dad that not too long ago, his daughter was at a major basketball game with him, basketball game, went up to the bathroom, 15 years old. You don't think that's a problem, but she was taken and took them 11 days to find her. The mother found her on a site selling her, and they were able to get her in another state. Mm-hmm.
On a site?
Quickly, because they have groups. They are in numbers now. The predators have a coordinated effort at large events. So, but what if there were more of us walking the hallways, the concession stands, just keeping an eye out? That poor dad will never forget that. It wasn't his fault, but I'm sure, it weighs heavily, because who would have thought that a teenager could not go to a public restroom and come back out and go home, right? Mm-hmm. So again, these are a lot of small things, but you put all the small things together, and guess what? We have a better net to keep our kids safe, our young adults safe, prepare them for college. Right now on college campuses, the most dangerous place for a young woman between 18 and 24 is a college campus. They have recruiters there that get paid to spot the vulnerable, the quiet, or just to, work their magic, so to speak, to get the trust of a young woman or a young man. Okay, boys are also trafficked. Let's not forget that. It's sadly a growing marketplace, for lack of a better word. But again, we need to send our kids out armed and dangerous, as I say. And that comes with knowledge and conversation.
Can I ask you something real quick? So like to oh my gosh, this is so incredible. What if someone wants to, for our listeners and viewers, someone wants to actually start to take initiatives, wants to start create awareness in their community, but they're scared or they feel like no one would listen to them? What's a great way for someone to spearhead that type of initiative to gain understanding about human trafficking without scaring people? It might be oxymoronic to say that, because human trafficking and the word scary are like synonymous.
Right. It is terrifying, and it should be, and people should be very, very uncomfortable. However, just like me, before I learned to speak in front of people, I was a kid that had been battered, abused, trafficked. I had a huge speech impediment, but I put myself in the line of fire, went on debate team. I did all the things I could because I wanted to be heard so badly. And God's voice in me saved me, and I became an extension of his voice. So for those of you thinking about it, wondering, get a couple of other people, whether your grandmas or your folks that just have kids, and or your teachers or whoever, and get a few of you together and think about, who could we bring to the Chamber of Commerce? Who could speak, or who could get a church to donate their venue and then invite everybody and have a town hall, even if it's a virtual town hall. I've done that before, where people have asked me, can you do some training or can you speak? And we'll get a bunch of people, in a room. And sure, a lot of our folks would do that for you. So let us help you get off to a good start. And then again, like Brian's program, there's a minimal cost, but that would be something else to include. Situational awareness. We have a couple of gentlemen that are extraordinarily proficient. They can help you. We have another trainer, Eric Karen, who's amazing. So we have people that can really help. The other thing about it is get some good education. And another thing would be go to your law enforcement office, find out what they do, or what they are willing to accept in terms of, hey, if I suspect human trafficking or something wanky at the bar down the street or at the school, what do you want to know? A lot of law enforcement do not get the training that they need. Maybe 8% get the training. So we need to help them help us. And then again, of course, if you have elections for mayor or school board, find out what the people that are running have actually done for your children, for your community, to make it safe, to make it a sanctuary for those who have been hurt. Find the truth out about the candidates, not just what the publicity is. And if you have someone in office that can't tell you, well, I've been doing this or I've been doing that to help kids, or I'm involved in such and such, then they don't deserve to be your leader on any level, especially the higher up you go in state legislature and national legislature. They have to prove that they are committed to the future of your community. But we don't hold their feet to the fire enough, sadly, across the country, Sherrita.
I love the terms that you use. You've created so many great terms. Holding their feet to the fire. I love that. I'm going to use that. I'm just going to let you know in other instances, but feet to the fire, my goodness. So yes, when it comes to elected officials and people who we need to speak on our behalf, learning and knowing and understanding awareness about human trafficking is just as important as taxes and their platforms consist of. So guys, just be mindful. What she just said is a really, really big thing. Ask your elected officials or the people that are running for election in your municipal or even state or gubernatorial elections. Hey, what do you plan to do about human trafficking? Because this is something that spans all races, all ages, and all genders. This is something that affects everyone. It affects everybody. I can't say it enough, because like the abductions that I have seen on the news or around the area, a lot of times they end up with a human trafficking situation. The other day, I saw this video. You know those lumber trucks that have the lumber stacked up? Andi, why did they pull it apart and there were people inside?
Yep. I've heard that, and I will give another example because it's an everyday example that all of us do or have done. We go to a big box store, they have groceries, they have toys, they have they have everything in that store, okay? Most of us can name them, but I believe it was approximately 6 months ago that 11 children were found in a container, and each of those children were under the age of 11. And each of those children had been abducted from a big box store. They were unattached. And this is not a slam against the parents or the adult in charge. But a lot of times, oh yeah, go ahead, honey, go look in the toy section. I'll be right back. I have to get groceries, or, I need to get my photos picked up, or whatever it is. But they were all taken. And I'm going to guess that they were taken from either the restrooms or the back of the big box store, because that's how they were all abducted the same way. Different stores, okay? But they were all taken. It takes maybe 3 seconds for a predator to grab a 70-pound kid and be off with them. So we have to be more diligent, or bring somebody with you if you're shopping, and have them watch the kids wherever they're going, because they're in those aisles, they're distracted by the toys or by this or by that, and they're not paying attention to the person in the restroom or near the restroom, which are usually towards the back of a big box store or the exit door.
I've heard instances where older ladies are being utilized as a trust measure to get younger women to go with them or to converse with them. It's just so maniacal. I just can't imagine people wake up every day and have this ambition, I'm gonna go and do this type of thing.
Well, that's why we want to educate. And some of the stories you'll read in our magazine, our books, some of the programs we have are going to share different stories. You know, it's like people think, well, all prostitutes choose to be a prostitute, and that is completely not true. There was a study last year that showed 89% of female prostitutes were recruited as young as 12 years old. So think about 10 years of that. Now you're in your early 20s, you have no other skills, you haven't really been to school, you know, you've been used, and what do you do? So again, we have got to get to our kids at an earlier age. We have got to force our schools to include anti-trafficking education. We have a beautiful program from a friend of mine in Australia who developed a survivor also. It's called SEMPI. It's a social communication model. SEMPI. The materials are all free. The training is very minimal cost, and yet we don't have it as prevalently in the U.S. as other countries do. It helps vet homelessness, hunger, abuse, and potentially human trafficking as early as 5 years old, if it were allowed to be in the schools and the churches. And it's basically a simple brochure, and it's peer-to-peer vetting. So the teacher or the Sunday school teacher or whoever is using the model says, okay, well, how's our senpai today? And then the kids actually pair up and they ask each other 4 questions. And at the end of it, the question is, do we need an adult to help us? So if we had that vetting that early, can you imagine the chaos it would cause for the predators, because we are teaching our kids to communicate earlier than later.
Yes, ma'am. Andi,
that's my hope for next year, is to bring that in.
Absolutely. It's been amazing having you on. It is always so enlightening. Out of the homes, we've talked about safe words. We've talked about just making sure that you go to the store if you have children, that you need to be able to have someone look after while you take care of another task in the store. You know what? There's so many things. Could you please reiterate the places and spaces that we can get all of this information?
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of it will be voicesagainsttrafficking.com, our website. The helplines, hotlines, everything from suspected human trafficking to suicide hotline to abuse hotline, everything, like you mentioned, domestic abuse, all those hotlines are safe. You can call them from anywhere in the country and you're protected as well. It's a neutral way to communicate, saying, I think my neighbor's kid is being abused. I had a situation the other day, gave them the hotline because it was out of our area. And so they will find help for you in your area. So that's the easy part. Our first book, Voices Against Trafficking, is on Amazon.com. So if you want to get the first edition, grab that. That has like the 40 tips. We can also email those tips to somebody if they want. Our second book has, a lot more information, updated, new stuff to learn from. So get one of the books, easy reading. Not easy on the heart, but easy to read. And then, of course, our magazine. Read about what other countries, what other people are doing. Read about the triumph of people that have said, look, despite all this mess in my life, I still was able to create a new normal and move forward. So we have the magazines. And again, if you're just in need of chillaxing, but you still want information, get the CD. Great music. You're going to feel moved. You're going to feel inspired. And you might even feel some healing if you've had some of these issues. So we are trying to get as much as we can out there. And hopefully we'll be able, we had a billboard in Times Square on New Year's Eve 4 or 5 years ago. And we put a help text number on there. And so it was, most of it was donated to us. So otherwise we couldn't have done it. But we are looking for every avenue. We need corporate sponsors. We need everyday dollars. If you have $5 a month, donate to us. Let us help you and do more good for the voiceless. Do more good for the survivors who need to recreate a life that they can live with successfully instead of drugs, alcohol, self-medication, self-destructive behavior, because the shame, guilt, and humiliation is so huge. So every dollar goes to what we do. So look at our website and you'll find a lot of that information. If you have questions, you can contact us directly through the website. Go to contact us and we will get back to you. We're very good at that.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure.
We thank God for you, and we pray that everything continues to go as planned as this initiative flourishes. You stay safe, Andi. I'm just so grateful that you still have the heart for this and still have the discipline in your mind to go forth and do this work.
I appreciate that. It is a battle, I'm not going to lie, each day is a little different, but as we taught the kids that we've rescued, you get up, you show up, and half the battle is done. But, there are dings and there are things that are challenging for me physically, but every day I know that it's my calling. And if one more person learns, if one more person will speak out, if one more person will be more conscientious about their surroundings, it's a win.
That's right. Hey guys, I'm Sherrita C W Delacruz. This is Andi Buerger, and this has been the Figures of Speech Talkcast. Thank you.